Before we jump in here, I just want to hand off a few fun facts about Mr. Chris Urso here. He's the principal and founder of the National REIS and URS Capital Partners. He's been investing since 2001, so I beat him by a year. So I'm happy to say that I'm his elder in real estate investing years by a year. And he's raised over $7 million in private money for various residential multifamily deals. This guy can talk about private money with authority, anything related to small to mid-sized multifamily acquisitions, due diligence, residential rehab flips, has a ton of experience in there. He has personally raised over $7 million just in the last 36 months. But really, his main niche, his main focus, if I were to boil it all down from what I've gathered, is small to mid-sized properties in the 20 to 200 units range and in markets all throughout the U.S. I know, was it, Chris, you just acquired your fourth or fifth multifamily property?
Fifth property, literally, about 3 to 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, so, I mean, you're in the trenches, you're doing this, and I know that you've learned a lot fast, but you've been very, very good at what you've been doing. So what I'd like to do is ask you to take us on a gingerly walk through your mind and help those of us who have never delved into the multifamily arena to understand why it should be on our radar, for one thing. Some of us, it's kind of the big long-term goal for a lot of us investors anyway, is to figure out a way to make the shift into multifamily. But for many of us, we're just satisfied with residential, and we don't really get the whole multifamily thing. So maybe you could start by letting us know why we should be thinking about evolving. And then from there, I'd like to talk about what it takes to make that shift, maybe starting with the mental shift and then maybe some of the more practical side.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, let's jump in. How about we start with the why?
Absolutely. First and foremost, I think you hit it on the head, and the biggest thing I'd love to have your folks think about is changing that long-term goal into a short-term goal and realizing that it's possible to go out and own your first building within the next 6 to 12 months. Without a doubt, it all starts there. And, as to why multifamily, there's a laundry list. I mean, you can go anywhere right now. We believe that it's the strongest asset class in real estate to be in. We believe it's probably the most consistent over time. When you buy multifamily right, you can weather any storm because it's driven by cash flow, first and foremost. And, as opposed to our friends, the little red houses that we've all been there and done, when you lose a tenant, you're getting rent from several other units when you have an apartment building. And obviously when you lose a tenant in your single family house, there's not much income coming, but the expenses still eat away at you. So, that's first and foremost, our focus is on cash flow, and that should be your big why. If you want to generate significant cash flow and build true wealth, multifamily is going to get you there the fastest. In my eyes, everyone will always need a place to live. As opposed to, retail, not everyone needs to get their nails done. Hotels, not everyone needs to go on vacation. Office buildings, not everyone can afford to pay, office rent in this environment, but everyone will always need a place to live, and the demand is just historically never been better for apartments. And the lack of supply, there's tons of data that I could spew, but I don't want to bore you guys on that side of it.
Actually, I'd like a little bit of it, if you don't mind. If you happen to have it handy, just to give us kind of a snapshot. We don't obviously spend a whole session just on data, but help us capture that a little bit.
I'll give you probably one of the best golden nuggets and one of the most eye-opening statistics that is out there. And, for the residential folks, multifamily folks, anybody, it's important to pay attention to. But obviously, since 2005, the country's homeownership rate has been declining dramatically. And I think, one of the key stats that's out there is in 2005, the homeownership rate in the country was 70%. Okay, so all homes or, households were owned in 2005, 70% of them. End of 2011, we were at 66%. Okay, so that's a 4% decline since 2005. And you might be saying, well, it's not that dramatic. When you look at what that represents, it's staggering. For every 1% decline in home ownership, it represents 1.2 million households entering the rental market.
Wow.
And that's just households, JP, and this is the fun part. Each household represents 2 to 3 people. So now when you look at the divorce rate in this country, which will be safe and conservative at 50%, you're adding now husband and wife. 50% of those households are getting divorced. Now husband and wife are potentially moving into the rental side of things as well. And the 50-year average is 65%. So we still have at least another full basis point to go. And most economists predict it to go even below that in the next 2 to 3 years.